But do you know why I do this podcast?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sharing of information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think when we can share information, we get caught up in the throes of competition and stuff, but if we have a place where we can share information, that'll help improve the city. You know, I think, what if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X could have gotten in a room, shared information? What if Prince and Michael Jackson could have gotten in a studio and shared information, made music together? It'd have been a better place. So that's what this is about. My young coaches are up against different things. We don't know how to handle it. In 2016, one of your former players was tried, found guilty, and sentenced to 15 years in prison for shooting someone who was once described as his friend. Now, this is one of your former players. He was out of high school at this point. What'd you think when you first learned that one of your guys was caught up in this situation?
Well, I heard it. Yeah, when I found out about it, it was a little shocking, and I was, because knowing the kid, you know, and picking a kid up, riding, kid lived on the corner. We ride to school every day. Just knowing a kid, such a good kid, and how could he get caught up in that? Like, the kid, they have a bad bone in his body, but you know, when the kids leave you and they hanging around other people, other crowd, and getting into other things, they get influenced.
So there was nothing in his time with you that would indicate, like, yo, this could be in his future?
Nicest kid. Nicest kid.
Do you second guess when you see something like that? Like, damn, go over your time with him, like, think, what is there anything that we could have done better or anything like that?
No, just like when you get out of high school and you leave and there's no more Coach Buds, like, I'm not gonna be picking you up, dropping you off, and certain things. Nobody's gonna really care. You gotta figure that things out. And I think the pressures in society that you know, you have to, and plus to live it, you have to have money. People want to live a certain way. People want to live a certain way and certain lifestyles, and that costs. It's pressure to maintain that, to obtain that. Not only to maintain it, to obtain and maintain. That kind of rhymes, right? Yeah. So I mean, people got to do what they got to do, you know. And sometimes, like, when you don't work hard, you end up working harder. So, you know, it's just tough. Like, you know, I wish every kid I had could, you know, you can keep them, you know, felony free with a degree, but that's not the case. School is not for everybody.
Have you talked to him at all since that situation went down?
Yeah, like once or twice. Early on in the stages, I gave my opinions on what they should do. They decided to do what they wanted to do, and you know, but you know, when you do something, you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price, man. It's just hard. You never want to see your kids go through that, but unfortunately, it's life. Life, man. You got kids, you know, we could all raise the kids. You could raise a kid in the same house, the same parents, same principles and values. You try to still live, but some are going to go their way and test the waters elsewhere and try to do it their way.
This is somebody that verbally committed to St. John's, and somebody who was supposed to go to Manhattan. How come he never made it to one of those campuses?
He wanted to rap and do other stuff. Like, you know, basketball, I thought it didn't come easy to him as it did when he was younger. When he was younger, he was a great player. It came easy to him naturally. But as you get older, you know what I'm saying, so the competition that you dominated, they get older and better too. So if you're not getting better, a lot of times you're doing what?
Getting worse.
Getting worse. So it then, you know, it wasn't as easy. You got to put that work in, and then guess he wasn't motivated to put the work in like he should. And one of the biggest compliments I ever had a player, an opposite team player, you know what I'm saying, give a player was to him. We was in Puerto Rico, we played in, I told you we played DeMatha and Quinn Cook, that's his name?
Yes.
Quinn Cook was on DeMatha, and we was all up in the room. He said, yo, man, I look up to you, man. Like, I'm like, wow. He said that to him.
Quinn Cook said that to the kid?
He said that to him. He said, I look up to you. He said, I look up to you, like, you my idol. Like, because I guess during that AAU time, it's like, you know, a kid look like, for example, Anton was telling me it was a kid he interviewed from Creighton, and he asked him, when I say Anton, I'm talking about Mershon. You know, he works for Cleveland Cavs. He texted me this.
Hold on, and who?
Anton Mershon. You know, he runs Dean Street. You know,
okay.
He runs the Rose Classic and all that stuff. He was interviewing a kid from Creighton, and one of the questions, you know, in the NBA combines, he asked him, he said, well, what player you ever played against made you realize, yo, I got to step my game up? He said, Shamari Pons.
Wow.
He texted me that. I thought I got a good smile about it.
Who said that?
One of the kids, I forgot the kid's name because, I'm not into all these kids, but he was interviewing a kid that went to Creighton that was in the NBA Combines. He works with Cleveland. So one of the questions they ask you when you're in the interview is, what player you played against that made you realize you got to step your game up? He said, Shamari. So that's like a great compliment you play when an opponent pays you that respect.
For sure.
So when he paid Devontae that respect, I was like, wow.
That's big.
That's big because, when they, all these kids come up together and they know each other nationally because they AAU, all these AAU tournaments. So, he idolized them because that team next was one of the best teams in the country back then when they was all middle schoolers. And, they was killing everybody. They was all talented kids. So they looked up to him. He was a problem when he was younger. But, hopefully, things work out for him and he come home, he'll figure it out,
It's tough, bud. It's tough, and again, that's why I was excited to have you here because you guys have been through everything, not just on the court, off the court. You know what I'm saying? And this New York City, some of our kids is blooded, cousin. Like, how do we help them? And it seems like you just saying, do the right thing, stay the course. You can't save everybody.
I don't think it's a New York City thing. I think it's a national world thing. I think social media exposes all our kids, them cell phones, to things that they wouldn't normally be exposed to. And then it becomes a form of emulation. They want to emulate that stuff from living how the rappers live, but they don't see what the rappers went through to live that way. Yeah. That's something that gets missing. So, it has a big influence on our kids. And it's times have changed, man. So I don't know how we can save everybody. We just gotta save the few and some that want to be saved.
For sure.
But it's hard saving them though. Some of them don't want that tough love.
Yeah.
But I think more so the in high school we got a tough job because sometimes we gotta undo 13, 14, 15 years of damage.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to say damage. I want to say lack of principles, or not lack of, because there are principles and values and negativity. But we try to install ours in them, which is maybe a little different to what they're used to. But unfortunately, when they leave us, they go home or go back to some of that stuff. So it's hard to a lot of your work you put in gets undone in a matter of minutes and time. But just gotta keep pushing, man, and keep planting seeds. Because a lot of things I say to my kids, they look at me like they don't understand it. Yeah. But that's my high school coach said a lot of things to me, and my coaches, I didn't get it until I started coaching. Now I understand. And some of I got after high school, but I'm still like, damn, that's what coaching meant. So I got it 20, 30 years later. So hopefully, but my relationship with these kids is a little different than my high school coach and college coach. You know what I'm saying? Because we like a lot of the same things. My college coach didn't like a lot of stuff that I like. He didn't like anything I like. He was an old white man. Yeah. My high school coach, he didn't like, I never rode in his car. He didn't spend summers with us at IS-8 and Dean Street. So we spent a lot of time together. Sometimes those car rides, when you got the music off and the windows up, and you got those kids in that intimate setting, those car rides can be very important. You know what I'm saying? You could plant a lot of seeds in them car rides.